Today's Q&A is about dishwashers, and the question is that we just moved into a new apartment and has dishwasher. The previous tenants were not Shomer Shabbos, so what do we have to do so we could use the dishwasher as kosher? So the first thing to think about is what material the dishwasher is made out of. If the chamber is made of porcelain enamel, then it can't be koshered, and obviously you can't use it. If it's stainless steel, then you're good, and stainless steel can be koshered. Now, there are different opinions about whether plastic can be koshered. If that's what your dishwasher is made out of, then you're going to have to ask your rabbi whether he is of the opinion you can or cannot kosher plastic. And similarly, the racks and the things that hold the silverware tend to be plastic, or at least metal coated with plastic. So if you're thinking about koshering those, you're going to have to ask your rabbi about that question. Also, whether he thinks that halachically you're allowed to kosher plastic. Now, there's a more complicated question about the dish racks and the silverware holders. And that is that they have lots of cracks and crevices where food can get trapped. And the Ramah says that things like that with small cracks and crevices can't be kosher because it's hard to get the residue out of them. Now, some people take that at face value and they say, therefore, you can't kosher dishwasher. So I shouldn't say that. You can't kosher the dish racks and the silverware holders. And if you want to kosher the dishwasher, you're going to have to replace those parts. Another way of looking at it is that maybe the Ramah is only machmir for a sieve, which is an example, or other things like that, where the leftover food that might be, the residue that might be stuck in the holes in the sieve, for example, might end up in your food. But what about in the dishwasher, where nothing in the dishwasher ever is going to end up in your food? It might end up on the plate. Well, and from the plate, it's going to be rinsed off. It won't end up on your food. It would just be a question of time. So some people think that the Ramah would not be machmir in that case. And a third way of looking at it is that the Ramah maybe is only machmir for Pesach, where the din is that chametz is asur b'masha, who even a tiny amount of chametz can never be batal. But for year round, maybe the Ramah wouldn't have been machmir, and it would be okay if the person just did as good of a job as they could to get it clean. And so this question, which of these three approaches to take, is something you're also going to have to ask your rabbi. I guess that's the theme of today. You're going to have to keep asking your rabbi how he wants you to approach that question. Now, once you figured out which things you could be kosher, as we've been talking until now, the actual koshering procedure is not too difficult. It uses a principle called kabbalah kachpolta, which means is that just about every case of koshering, the koshering needs to mimic the way the utensil became not kosher in the first place. So in the case of a dishwasher, how does a dishwasher become not kosher? It's hot water mixed with, let's say, the tray food that was in there, gets sprayed all around the dishwasher. So we're going to kosher the dishwasher the same way. We're going to spray hot water all over the place. But what we need to do is we need to spray that hot water at a temperature that's as hot or hotter than it was when it became treif. So to do that, we need to do two things. First of all is, if a dishwasher has more than one cycle, we have one option for cycles. We choose the hottest cycle that's available. And second is that, for example, like the hottest cycle might be the pot scrubber, I don't know, whatever it's called, the one that's the hottest cycle. And the second is that in some dishwashers, there's a food sensor. And the food sensor, what it does is when it will keep on washing and raising the temperature when it sees that there's food in the water. That tells it, oh, you haven't gotten this perfectly clean. But if there's no food, if it detects that the water is plain and there's nothing mixed into that water, then it doesn't do as strong of a job. So we need to turn the sensor off, because otherwise, during koshering, there's obviously no food in there. We're koshering a clean dishwasher, and if the sensor is on, the sensor will say, great, it's all clean. No reason to keep on spraying and no reason to raise the temperature. So we need the sensor off. We need to be on the high cycle. And then what we do is we run that cycle, and that will kosher the dishwasher. Of course, as with any koshering, before we start, the dishwasher needs to be clean, and you have to not use it for 24 hours beforehand. And once those are done, the dishwasher would be kosher and ready to be used for kosher.